All right. So, just want to tell you a quick little bit about myself. When I first started out with this whole media thing, my dad, he was a Bible teacher, so he would record his sermons, and he would take these pictures, with a little Kodak camera, and I just thought that was the most coolest, amazing thing, and that's what really got me into this interest in media. And then I went on to Connecticut School of Broadcasting and went on to work at some Christian radio stations, and then I got into DJing and all kinds of it's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride. But I really, really, really love the idea. When I had a music studio and all that, just seeing people's faces light up when they would hear themselves recorded, right? And seeing how, and I worked on some movie sets and was in a movie and doing things like that. But I really love seeing people just light up when they would hear their voices recorded real well and when they would have video of themselves and see themselves on video. And so I became addicted to that whole process of capturing those moments, right? Capturing those things and being able to re-express it to the world in ways that would never disappear. Because once you've captured yourself on media, it never disappears. Evan, you got some of those old tapes that you used to rock with? So I really love that. I love to capture audio and video and be able to put it out there and have it live forever, and people can share it with their family, share it with their friends. But now, more than anything, what I love doing is helping people to get business with video. How do we structure video to use it as a mechanism to save us time, to save us money, and to build relationships? Like using video to scale yourself. And that's what's different about my approach. I'm not just here to teach you how to get on video and perform. I'm here to help you, to show you how you can use video to actually grow business, because you're going to be hitting each psychological thing that a person needs in order to feel comfortable enough to buy from you. So that's my whole purpose now, and that's why I do what I do. That's why I love it, because it's part of a passion of mine. But it's also, I see that the business community suffers because they don't know how to use this amazing tool to actually grow their business, impact and build relationships with people, save themselves time so they're not saying the same thing over and over. They can say it one time and send people to that video, and to make them money. So that's where I've come to that place at. And so, saying all that to say this, I'm so glad that you're here. And if you want to work with me personally, you're in the right place, because each one of you I'm going to personally work with in the group. So bring your videos in there, and I'm going to tell you about yourself, tell you what's wonderful about yourself, and tell you what we need to tweak a little bit. So I'm very excited about that. And you can reach me in the group. You can ask me questions in there. That's why I'll be answering questions. Okay? You get that? Everybody's cool with that? How'd that make you feel? Made you feel okay? You're not scared out here or nothing? Okay. We're all friends here? Great. Love you guys. Now, so I want to tell you what I just went through, which is a 4-step process that I want to teach each one of you to go through as well. And this is called your brand story, right? First thing you do is you make an emotional connection. People will know why you do what you do. Do y'all know why I do what I do? Do you know why I'm passionate about it? Because of what I shared with you. I shared you my story. So now you know I didn't just pop up here and doing something. I have a meaning to this thing. Right? And each one of you have a meaning to what you're doing. There's something that happened in your life that shaped you and brought you to this point where you're doing real estate right now. There's some values that you have accrued over your walk and your journey in life that helps you be ideal for the people that you're going to serve. But first, you need to be able to tell them who you are. Before I care about what you're going to talk about, I need to know who you are. Who are you, right? So that builds the first thing, which is emotional connection, right? Then the next thing is personal connection. So you can say, my name is Orlando Rivera, and this is what I do, right? I broker businesses, right? Because you've seen different things. They hear about your story and how you've seen people who don't really know how to get into business or trying to get out of a business, who have been broken. You came to serve that, and then you say your name. Because now that I know I have that connection because I've heard your story and I heard where you come from, now you give me what's your name, who you are, who are you, right? And now you've got me emotionally connected. Now I need to know the logical side of my brain needs to understand, why is it that I should work with you? What's different about you? What's different about how you process and how you, because you're not a commodity. So I'm different in that I work with this specific type of people to achieve this specific type of result, right? So you get really clear on that because you've already emotionally connected, because you've told them, hey, this is where I'm from. This was my journey and my path. Had a great conversation with Evan. I feel just all you guys that I've been able to speak with, the more I hear about your story, the more invested I am into you as a person. You know what I mean? Evan told us some things about his history and his past and what, that was really cool, working with, doing bands, doing music, being a worship leader. And he's also an attorney and stuff. But most people just see him, face forward as an attorney. But those little pieces of things that he went through as well, and Daniel growing up in the desert, actually living there and growing up in that area and being a part of that community, that's part of the thing that makes him who he is. That makes him, Stephen being a military person, coming out of the military, that part of the story, it paints a whole nother ability for a person to really connect with who you are. And it's either going to connect or it's going to repel. And you want your marketing to do that. You know what I'm saying? If someone's like a Satan worshiper, probably not going to be down with me because I love the Bible. I love the word. I love Jesus. I love those things, right? So that's part of my story. I can't shake that. I didn't always follow Jesus and I don't follow him. The point is this: if you share with people what made you, you're going to attract certain people and you're going to repel certain people. That's just a fact that you have to know, right? Some people don't like military people, right? That's just a fact. And it's okay. You still need to share the story of how you were in the military. Some people they're not going to like you for a multitude of reasons, but at least you're putting yourself out there and you're going to attract the type of people that you actually like to work with and the people that you resonate with and who resonate with you. So now you're talking about the logic part. We went through the emotional connection. That's your personal story. As it relates to your clients, you don't want to tell all your business. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to put out there crazy stuff that's going to, just make people, but you go to the logical side now, which is what do they get when they work with you specifically that they cannot get from the other person who has your same title? What do you do that's different? And you have to think about that because you have certain skill sets and differences, but if they're not articulated, it's not going to really, you're going to be still seen as a commodity. And if you get nothing else, that's the biggest thing. You want to be able to separate yourself by your processes. What about your processes do you bring to this? Is it the legal logistical? Is it a history of running multiple businesses and starting a whole bunch of businesses and being around a lot of people? Is it your education? Is it your intimate knowledge of that area? Is it your history with that certain niche or demographic?
And that history can be corporate. It could have been you in the working world.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be in real estate.
Right.
If it can be translated into what you're doing now, then you'd want to include it.
What you're doing now and how that relates to why that makes you have an advantage over just a regular Joe who's a commodity, right? My thing is this: I do video. I'm not just a videographer or a video, performance coach or whatever. I focus on helping people grow their business with video. That sets me apart. That's how I'm different with my skill set and what my focus is, right? If you help veterans, you help female veterans, like Target. I help female veterans to invest, right? That's a differentiator. If I'm a guy who's never been a veteran or whatever, I might be repelled with that, and that's okay because there's more than enough female veterans for you to do. So whatever that thing is, that differentiator, you're going to be so much stronger in the niche that you're in if you establish yourself strong with the logic part as well, right? How is your process different? You know what I'm saying? Even if it's that I make sure that I contact my clients at least once a week, you know what I mean, to find out and give them updates. If it's, I make sure that I ask my client first, what was their previous experience with a realtor so that I know that I don't make those same mistakes that person made, right? You can say something like that. Part of my process is the first thing I do is ask you, what's been your experience with previous realtors so that I can know what's important to you so that I can serve you well and not send you through those things that you might have went through before, right? So they can be process things that you do. You know what I mean? But that's that first emotional, now the logic. And then you go on to why they should do business with you actually, right? And then you go on to your call to action, which is going to be how can they go into a further relationship with you? Because if you tell these people stuff about you, you tell them the emotional, hey, this is where I come from and this is what my values are and this is how my values were shaped. And then you go into now this is how my process works. And this is what sets me apart. This is what makes me different from the other people in this space. Now you have to go, and this is where some people leave it out. Now you have to give them a call to action. People need to know to do something. Hey, if you'd like to go into a deeper relationship, or you would like, you don't say deeper relationship, but if you'd like to go further and to be able to connect with me, go to here or go to there, right? Tell them what to do. Go apply online at my webpage, and I'd love to be able to speak with you. Give them something to do. But that is the psychological variables that are needed. Once you're clear on these, where do you come from? What shaped you as it relates to the businesses you're about to serve, right? Tracy started out young teenager working in a attorney's office, right? And learning filing and clerking and all those things like that. That shaped part of who she was. She went to school for PR, practiced PR. That shaped part of what she had. A marketing company before we met, shaped part of who she was. Work with luxury, work with all these type of different realtors and learned so many things from different ones. And that shaped part of who she was. CEO of National Commercial shaped who she was. So part of that story. Now, how does her process work? Her process works is that she gets into intimate relationship with you and your business to find out how she can best put you out there using her PR skills, using her vast knowledge of various real estate industries to be able to give you a result that's tangible and makes you stand out as a power brand in your community. Right? So that's what makes her different from other consultants or people that do this stuff. Those mechanisms, you hit those, you're going to rock. If you hit those, where do you come from? Who you are? You know, then how is your process different? What makes you stand out? What gives you that extra that other people don't have, right? And if you need help with this, let us know. We can do an interview or something and talk to you and give you some ideas of how to process this, right? How do I process this? This is where I've been, this is where I was, and how do I put this together in a package so that people understand this kind of brand story situation, right? But these are things that you need to put together. Just put together all the stuff that you've gone through in your life, even if you think it doesn't really apply.
So where do you start with that? An easy way to start with that for those of you who've not been that maybe was in the working world before you became a real estate entrepreneur is look at your resume. That's one of the first things you should look at. It will remind you of the journey you've been on. If you've been a business owner for a long time, or you've been in a background like some of the people on the call where you've been a part of an organization like the military or something, then for you would want to just jot down, because you all don't need resumes, right? If you've been a business owner, you want to go way back, like Ross just went all the way back to I was a teenager story, which was like 50 years ago. long time ago. Look at what have I done? Who have I worked with? What type of businesses have I worked with? What ventures did I start? Even if they failed, because that's failing forward, right? Mm-hmm. Even if they failed, or you changed your mind, you started out like, oh, I'm not going to do this anymore. Think about your journey. Go all the way back, and that will help you. And then jot down, what did I learn from some of this stuff? Right. That can translate to commercial. Now, when it comes to
I just want to say this real quick. Your passions, your education, and your mentors as well. Even if they're digital mentors, even if what you learned from Tony Robbins was this very core thing that shapes who you are right now, right? Those are also things that need to come out of your brand story. What do you stand for? What do you stand against? Who would be your ideal person to work with and who you do not like working with, right? You need to have those standards in place and at least write them out and think about it, because this is going to shape the rest of your working life, basically. Like how you go forward and how you create the life of your dreams. It's going to be based on these core principles. So you're congruent with who you really want to be, because you're going to spend a lot of time doing business. It might as well be congruent and with who you want to be, who you want to work with, and how you want to spend your mind space. So if you get clear on these things and make this is my standards, this is who I'm going to work with, and this is how I'm going to serve, then you'll be able to move forward with confidence and clarity.
You sure will. This is the tough part of doing your digital marketing strategy, because you think digital marketing, you think, okay, I'm going to learn about LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, all things that we are. Mm-hmm. But if you've thought out this part of it, that's going to show up again later. It's going to show up in some of the call to actions that you say. It's going to show up in what you write about when you say who it is that you help, because that's going to bring in the type of person that you want to work with. It's also going to show up in your planning. In real estate, if you've been in this game longer than 5 years, you know that there are days where you're like, you know what, why am I even doing this anymore? Or why do I need to make a change? Because I'm tired of hearing the same old story of this type of person and talking to me about, I don't know, the house is worth another $50,000 because the kitchen is pink, whatever it is, or they need this much more money for their single building that they haven't taken care of, because it's located on this main road, when they know that they haven't done any updates to the building at all over 20 years, This type of stuff helps you tweak who you're going to go after, because you have to know who your ideal client avatar is. Because if you don't, you're just kind of talking to everybody. Now, for some of you that are more of generalists, or you are a broker, actually, even those of you that are fairly new at this, I've shared this with. When you put yourself out there as a company, if you are not quite sure where you want to go yet, or you're planning to build a team, you need to put yourself out there with all your services. like all the different services. Not every last one of the asset classes, but maybe 3 or 4 of the ones that you want to choose. And that goes back to modeling. All of the major broker houses have all of the services on there. They have, pretty much all of them are on there. If you go there, because they're basically saying, if you come to me, we've got someone who can help you. Now, if there's something that you absolutely don't want to do, maybe you don't want to do industrial because you have not learned industrial, you don't feel like you could manage the transaction well, so maybe you don't put industrial on your page, right? But if you have a team, if you're planning to grow a team, or if you are new and you're trying to figure out what you're good at, then you should put commercial real estate advisory, valuation. Those are things that you want to talk to. Now, much of what Ross is saying is your brand story, which comes out, actually all of what Ross is saying is your brand story, and that comes out in different ways. There's 2 different bios. I don't want to get it confused what you all are doing. There's one, that's your corporate bio, that if you all go to any of our sites, you're going to see something similar that says you're the managing director of your group name at powered by whichever brokerage that you have. And it's going to say that you specialize in these services in this market. And then it's going to have just a couple of lines about you, something that's relevant to your business. Like it may say, prior to getting into commercial real estate, so-and-so Jones was a certified public accountant, did internal auditing, and a senior consultant at some top national firm, right? There will be a reference to your background as to what you did, and then it will have some type of call to action. That's your general bio, your traditional corporate commercial real estate bio that you want people to see, but you want to have just a spice, just a little bit of something in there that tells them, hey, maybe I should look more into this person. And then if it was on a website, they click on a view more, and then they can get your full story.
Right. And I want to clarify this too. When it comes to website building and those type of things, positioning for web presence, Tracy crushes it. Whatever she says, 100%. When it comes to video, my mentality is based around video. And this is the good homework that you guys can do. Go out there and look up VBCs on YouTube, video business cards, right? Video business cards, and you'll find ones for different companies. They follow this framework. The ones that are done well, they follow this framework that I'm telling you about. How you emotionally engage, find out what your story is, then how is your process? What's your process? What's the process of working with you like? And then they go into, hey, so if you want to go into a relationship or build, then you do this. But if you look up video business cards and look at a whole bunch of different ones and find out how can I craft my story in this way so that in 2 minutes, people will know exactly what I'm about and where I come from and why I do what I do and how I do it.
And that's something that Ross is going to walk you all through later on in one of the other sessions, but it's something that puts a visual to what we're talking about, because it may seem overwhelming with, I got to do all of this stuff, but really it's something that's very condensed, and short.
And the main thing too, the other meta thing is right now we're really wanting you to have a super strong foundation, right? Because you can build up a house real quick. You can throw some business cards together, put some stuff out there, throw a website up, do whatever. But then when those storms come and the environment shifts, and there's something like a COVID or something happens right there, your foundation isn't strong as far as who you are, who you're putting yourself out there, what is the value, the unique value that you bring. So if you do this hard work right now of the foundational stuff, the thought stuff, and the getting clear on what's your strongest way of putting yourself out there, then no matter what happens, you're ready for it because you know exactly who you are, who you serve, how you serve them, and how to articulate that across your website, your socials, your video. Because once you've got that built, you can just take that bad boy and just place it in everything. That's on your postcards, that's on your video, that's on your social, that's on your social media posts, because you have clarity of exactly who you are, who you serve the best, and how to articulate that in a way that causes them to know, like, and trust you quickly and do business with you. That takes you away from commodity and puts you into the realm of brand.
That's awesome. So since you mentioned logos and websites and all that, here's something for you all to start up. Right now, I am posting the checklist I'm posting it in the group. It's a checklist that goes over, there's 4 phases of developing a digital marketing strategy. First one's branding. Second one's a web presence. Third one is your social media presence. And under your social media presence, that includes video. And then fourth is your SEO. 3 of those checklists for you all to take a look at. I'd love for you all to download it, review, go over your stuff to see what do you have in place, what don't you have in place. If you have questions about those, you can post them in the group and we'll go in and answer them for you. But what do you need for a basic, for getting started? Like, there's lots of things that you all need to establish a digital marketing strategy, but for just getting started, what do you need? You need a company name, a logo, business card, a phone number where they can contact you. And if you're using your cell, you need a professional voicemail greeting. And one of the things that I'll post, I don't have it in this checklist, but I'll post in the group some places where you can get that kind of stuff, the places that we've used that we like. We'll post those in there so that you all can get that developed for yourselves. You need basic social media. When I say basic, it means do you have one that's tied to your company name? That's a business page on LinkedIn, on Facebook, YouTube channel. So you want to make sure you just got your basics, like setting up a store. How can people find me? Do I have a phone number? Do I have an email address that's tied to my domain name? Do I have a website? Do I have a domain name? Do I have my logo? Do I have my company name? Do I have a phone number? And then that's the most basic for getting started.
And with regarding your logo, you want to make sure you have it in multiple formats, say AI or PSD or something, and you want to make sure it looks good in black and white as well, because you're going to be faxing things are going to be coming over, so you want to make sure that your logo is not heavily dependent upon color. Color is cool, but you want to make sure it looks good in black and white, and you're going to be using it for your intros for your videos, so you want to make sure you have like what's called a PNG, or you want to have a high resolution file so it doesn't look blurry when we put it into a for your video intro. You wanted to connect the 2 people asking about the bio. The second one, they didn't catch the second bio. The first one was.
Yep, I sure will. I will answer that question. With the logo, who does not have a logo? Like some of you we're creating logos for, or we have created logos for. Okay.
Joanna.
Need a logo. Would it help you all if we shared with you all some places? Like we could do it for you, but most of our stuff you all know, we do the whole gamut. We don't do just one or two things out of a thing. We do the whole image. Would it help if we posted some places where you could have logos made? We also have, and the membership site that you all are going to get access to, we have probably about 30 designs that you could actually access and choose one and have it customized for yourself. Would it help if we posted that in the group where you all can see that? Do you all need that, or does everyone have it? Daniel, you don't need it. Your logo took Daniel's got this cool custom logo reflecting the desert.
That's right.
We had to get 3 graphic designers on.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so we'll get that. We'll get that in there. I'll have that in there probably by the weekend for you all. Okay, so just keep tabs on that.